that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Backbeat, the word is on the street that the fire in your heart went out. And I'm sure you heard it all before, but you never really had a doubt. And I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. And all the roads we have to walk are winding, and all the lights that lead us there are blinding. There are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. Because maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, you're my Wonderwall. Today was gonna be the day, but they'll never throw it back to you. Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are revisiting Wonderwall by Oasis. I last did a lesson on this song more than 10 years ago. That video's had more than 1.8 million views. I know it's a popular one, and I reckon I can do a better one. At least the audio and visual is going to be way better. I think I've got some new techniques, really help you learn that rhythm good, because mostly what's tricky about this song is the rhythm. The chords are not particularly difficult, really. It's getting the rhythm right that we're going to spend a good chunk of our time on, just playing through the different rhythmic groupings. A really important thing though is to remember to keep your arm moving all the time. If you watch any of the videos of Noel playing it, you'll see that his strumming hand is completely consistent and really relaxed. So even though you might feel at times that this is kind of difficult and complicated and you have to think a lot, keep practicing through that to the point where you can play it relaxed, because that's what you're going to need to do, especially if you want to play and sing at the same time. You can't be thinking about that stuff, so you have to do it over and over again and really get it sunk in. Now what we're going to start off with is a look at the chords, and then a real basic playthrough with just very simple strumming, so you get used to making those chord changes, because again, there's no point in spending ages trying to get the rhythm right if you can't get the chords together, because you can't stop the rhythm. Rhythm's got to be consistent. Hand motion. You don't want to be going... It ain't going to work at a party. I must have played this at 100 parties or more, okay? You got to keep the rhythm going if you want people to sing along. So really focus on the rhythm. The chords are going to take you 10 minutes to learn, okay? The rhythm probably going to take you a little bit longer. I got, as I said, on-screen tab, really good counting, playing along together real nice and slow. You're going to get this. You want to play this song? I can help you play it. So let's get to a close-up and check out the chords. So the first thing to notice, we have a capo or capo here at the 2nd fret. Now all of the chords we're going to be playing today are what I call stuck 3/4 chords. So the 3rd and 4th fingers are stuck down 3 frets above the capo on the thinnest 2 strings. So start by putting those 2 fingers down. So fingers 1 and 2 are going to go in the 2nd fret above the capo in the 5th and 4th string. So this is essentially an E minor chord. We've got open, 2nd fret, 2nd fret, open, 3rd fret, 3rd fret. Now technically this is called an E minor 7, but I'm always going to refer to it as an E minor. Just if I'm singing along with the chords, it's a bit of a mouthful to start adding in all of the extensions, especially the A7 sus4. So this I'm just going to call E minor. Next chord we need is a G. Now all we really have to do is move 2nd finger down to the 3rd fret on the thicker string. So this is a regular G chord. Most of you will know that already. E minor to G. Notice that the 1st finger might slide up just a little bit on the way to the G. If we're going back, 1st finger might move back a little bit to make way for that 2nd finger, because if it's too much on the fret, it's going to get a bit muted. Needs to be just behind. Too far back, you risk getting buzzy notes. So you always want to get the fingers as close to the frets as you possibly can. Okay, so we've got E minor, G. Now we've got a D. Now again, technically this is a D sus4, but I'm just going to call it D, okay? Now here, regularly with a D chord, you don't want to play the 5th string at all, But if you accidentally play it in this song, it's not going to sound bad at all. What you don't want to hit is the thicker string. And you could say that it's worth getting the thumb around to mute the thicker string if you can. I wouldn't say it's a bad idea, but maybe just focus your strumming on the thinner strings. Target the thinnest 4 strings and you might hit the 5th, but you're unlikely to hit the 6th. So that's the D. Now the next chord we want is an A. So first finger is going to move over to the 2nd fret on the 4th string. Second finger goes underneath. So it's open, 2nd fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 3rd fret. Nothing on the thicker string. And again, technically this is called an A7 sus4, but I'm just going to call it A as I sing along with the chords. Other chords that we need, C. Now, again, technically, this is a C add 9 chord. Some people, I love it, they call it a CAD 9. It's a C add 9. So this is 2nd fret on the 3rd string. Do remember that with that finger, you probably want to mute the thicker string there with the tip of that 2nd finger. 1st finger, 2nd fret on the 4th string, so nothing. 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open, 3rd fret, 3rd fret. And that's most of the chords, but then we do have this one little bit, this little step down, and that goes from a G. Now to get to this next chord, again technically I guess a D sus, it's not a sus4 because we got the F sharp, a D add 4 with an F sharp in the bass, technically, whatever, I'm just going to call it the step down chord. So this one, we've gone from the G, we put 1st finger in the 2nd fret of the thicker string, and 2nd finger goes down in the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. So this is kind of our same D sus4 that we had, but now we're putting the F sharp on the bottom. We just use that in the like to say to you, but I don't know how. It's the only time we really come to that little part. But that's the chords. Now, luckily for us, the chord progressions are pretty simple to remember as well. Okay, so let's go through now. I'll play the intro and then I'll play through a verse and I'll talk a little bit about ways to remember the tune, because if you can remember the little sequences, it makes it a lot easier to play. Again, especially playing at a campfire after you've had a few beers, you know, you don't want to be having to get the sheet music out. You want to have the chord progressions in your head. So memorizing the chunks, the blocks is a really good idea. So the intro is going E minor for 2 beats, G, D sus4 to A. And it does that actually 4 times on the original recording. I often only just do it twice. Depends if it's a party and I'm expecting everyone to sing along. Kind of gives everyone a chance to get the words up on their phone. So just playing it through a few times. Of course, you know, you're going to be doing the proper awesome rhythm there. So, you know, people will be like, oh man, that dude's playing Wonderwall just like the record. And then the verse starts. Here we go, verse. So same thing. Today was G to the day that you D, gonna back to A. E minor by now, you G somehow to the D, what you got a A. But E minor don't believe the G chord, but it D's the way I A, about you C, D to A for a whole bar. Okay, so we've got this nice simple chord progression, E minor, G, D, A. For the intro, it goes around that 4 times. For the verse, it goes around it 3 times. Then it goes D, C, D, A. Okay, all of these are like half a bars each unless I specify otherwise. That A is for a full bar. When it goes into the second verse, it does the same progression as the intro, the E minor, G, D, A. It goes around 4 times. So it doesn't go to the C, D, A part. That's just like this weird little interlude that happens only at the end of the first verse. That's one of those kind of quirky bits that you have to remember. Most of us are familiar with this song, and you kind of remember that there's that other bit in that particular moment. So let me just play through verse 1 and verse 2 now. Sing along the chords so you can see the way that little different part comes in the verses. So starting with the E minor, 3, 4. E minor. Today is G to the day that the D's gonna back to A. E minor. By now you G somehow to the D when you got a A. As E minor believes the G chord, but it D's the way I A, about you C, D, A for 4 beats. Into the second verse. E minor. Backbeat. The G is on the street, that the D in your heart is A. E minor. I'm sure you G'd it all before, but your D really had an A. E minor, don't believe the G chord ever. D's the way I A about your E minor. So it's that same progression. D to A. Now the pre-chorus. The C that goes to D and then E minor for a whole bar. C for 2 and D for 2, E minor. C for 2 and D for 2, then G, D with an F sharp bass to E minor, then to G to A for 2 bars. So that pre-chorus, that's probably the trickiest bit to remember the sequence of. But again, it kind of really goes along well with the words. So knowing the words to the song kind of helps you remember the chords. Okay, so C to D and then E minor. Again, the same thing. C goes to D and then E minor. Next time, C goes to D and then the fast changes bit. So G to D with an F sharp bass to E minor, back to G to A for 2 bars, usually with a little bit of finger lifty offy stuff going there on the A, but we'll talk about that in just a second. It's definitely worth practicing that chord sequence a little bit. The tricky, this 2, 3, 4, G, D with an F sharp bass, E minor, just because that is the hardest part, and again, you don't want to really slow down or muck up the rhythm at that point just before the singing, before the chorus. Everyone's been singing along and enjoying the tune, and then if you get stumbly with the rhythm, it kind of feels a little bit awkward for the listener. So just practice up that little bit separately, I think, and work on that, make sure you can get the rhythm of it nice and consistent. Then we go into the chorus. The chorus is going C, E minor, G, E minor. It goes around 4 times. On the 4th time, there's a stop on the E minor. So let's just play that starting from the C, which is the beginning of the chorus. I said maybe E minor to G, you E minor that sees me, E minor, G, and E minor to C, E minor, G, you're my E minor to C, E minor, G, E minor, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now something weird is going on here. There's a thing called a 2/4 bar, which means nearly all of the bars in this song have 4 beats in them, but there's one here that's only got 2. So when you play that E minor and you strum it, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Da, 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 da. Then you've got 2 beats back on the A, 16th note strumming. We're going to talk much more about the strumming very soon, but just be aware of that. One more time through the chorus, I'll do that little count and go into the next verse. I'm not going to play the whole verse, I'll just play into it so you see. So starting on the C, 3, 4, I said C chord, E minor to G, E minor is the one that sees me, E minor to G, E minor, C, E minor to G, you're my E minor to C, E minor to G, to E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 E and a 2 E and a. So normally on beats 3 and 4 of that little gap there, I put 2 knocks on the guitar. You don't have to do it. That's where the drums come in. So for me, it kind of helps lead anyone who's playing along with us, or lead anyone that's singing along with us, kind of help them get their bearings there, because the 2/4 bar can feel a little bit weird. The next verse is exactly the same as the second verse, so it doesn't have that little C, D, E minor part at the end of it. That's only the first verse that does that. The third verse exactly the same. The pre-chorus is exactly the same, and then the chorus just goes through the C, E minor, G, E minor thing, repeats around 2 full choruses and then a little bit of outro. It's a bit longer and there's some instrumental things. If you're playing it for yourself, you can choose how many times around that you go. I guess it depends on how many people are vibing at the party. Wouldn't go too long if no one's singing along. It might just get a little bit boring. But if everyone's singing along and having a party, then keep it going. But as I mentioned, the chords are relatively simple. Most of you have probably got them under your fingers already and going like, whoo, I'm fully here with Wonderwall. But, the rhythm is the tricky part. So let's check out first of all the rhythm for the intro. That's kind of the most obvious and important rhythm that I would suggest that you spend your time on. Next in importance will probably be the chorus rhythm, which again, you don't have to play it exactly the same all the time, but it's a good idea to have a default pattern. And then we're going to look at the little accent passage that happens at the end of the first verse, just because, again, it's quite distinctive. It's one of those things that people will be like, wow, it really sounds like Wonderwall there if you get those kind of elements right. But really, before we get into the minutiae, the really important thing is keeping your hand moving and keeping it relaxed. Because if you add in an extra strum or you miss out a strum, it's not going to sound bad. As long as you stay in time, you're going to be good. So as you're learning this and you're trying to figure it out and you're practicing it through, just be aware, don't beat yourself up if you put in an extra strum or whatever, as long as you keep your hand moving. If your hand stops moving, then curse yourself and be like, no, stop that. Like, I've got to keep this locked in. I've got to keep the groove on. Okay, extra strum, missing a strum, doesn't matter. Stopping the hand, nah, really bad idea. So really just all the way through we're doing that. Just keep an eye on how the hand moves consistently. If you don't believe me that how important it is, watch Noel play it. Because he plays it perfectly every time and it's just super relaxed and it doesn't stop moving. The relaxed nature of it, I feel like, is the key thing that people get stuck on. If you get all tense, you won't be able to move your hand fast enough and it'll always sound kind of jerky and tense. You want it to feel relaxed. And just on that point, before we get into it again, I always feel I sing it a bit loud. When I watch Noel do it, he's super relaxed and it's really easy, but maybe it just fits his range. But I have to kind of strain to get those notes. If that's you, then, so be it. But do try, remember that the more relaxed you are, the better the more relaxed it'll sound to people listening to it. And that's really what we're after. So let's get stuck into the rhythm. Rather a lot going on, but it's not if you break it down. And the key thing here is to play it without the chord down. Because when you play it with the chord down, it's really easy to get distracted by the chord. But when you take the chord away, it really focuses you in on the rhythm. So we're going to take it a couple of beats at a time. So each chord is played for 2 beats. So we're going to break down the rhythm into these little 2-beat sections and then stick it all together. So the E minor, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Down, 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 up. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. The down on the and after 2 is very, very quiet. You could leave it out and it would probably sound just as right. I always put it in there because it is quite often played in other parts of the song. Just in the intro it seems less there. So again, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Now on the G it goes 1 E and 2 and 3, 4. Down up down 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 up 3, 4. 1 E and 2 and 3, 4. 1 E and 2 and 3, 4. Again, it's worth learning these little sections. Again, this is down, up, down, 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 up. Think of it as a down, up, down, up, down, then down, down, up. Down, up, down, 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 up. Now let's put those 2 together again. Still, we don't need any chords yet. We're playing through the E minor and the G. Again, 3 E and 4 E. 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and I'm going to do it a little bit slower for any of you that are struggling. 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and feeling hip with that? You might want to stick the chord with it now. Just have a little bit of a listen, starting off on the E minor, even slower. 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4. Down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down. Now, something interesting is happening here for those more observant of you amongst us. I'm lifting off my fingers in between the chord changes. You hear it very clearly if you listen out for it. The last 16th note of almost every bar when it's changing to a new chord is played with open strings, okay? It's not deliberate, it's just a function of changing to a new chord. It might be possible if you tried really hard to force the change to happen really quickly, but then you're not going to be relaxed when you're doing that. Okay, so it's another one of those things. We're being relaxed and just playing with it. Those things will kind of happen naturally. I'm sure Noel's not deliberately adding an open strings or deliberately not doing it. That's what happens when he plays the song. And I would, again, really emphasize the importance of the rhythm at this point and just getting little bits of it down. Even if it takes you a while, much better to be able to play the song real well. Okay, so make sure you hit with this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4. Down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up. Make sure you hit with that first of all. But there's only another bar. We're halfway through the main chunk of the rhythm here. I feel most people get this intro rhythm. The rest of it's actually not too bad. So the second bar of it now. Okay, a little bit more tricky. Da, 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 da. Same as that we had on the G, almost. Down, up, down, 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 up. Again. 1 E and 2 and 3, 4. 1 E and 2 and 3, 4. Down, up, down, 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 up 3, 4. Down, up, down, 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 up 3, 4. But what happens now for beats 3 and 4, it gets a little bit weird because we get a succession of upstrokes, and that can feel a little bit odd, especially if you don't know to keep your hand moving. Okay, a lot of people try and play them as downstrokes, and it really puts them into a bit of a muddle. So make sure that you're hip with this idea of doing consecutive upstrokes. You're keeping your hand moving. Okay, that's the secret, keeping the hand moving. Beat 3 misses the first down strum, then we have an up on the E, an up on the R, and 4 E and A. So all 4 strums in beat 4. So 3 E and A, 4 E and A. 3 E and A, 4 E and A. Feels a little bit weird to do that one on its own. So now let's link it through and play the D to the A bars, but again, with no chords. So it's 3, 4, 1 E and 2 and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. 2, 3, 4. Down, up, down, 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 up, 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 down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, up, down, 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 up, 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 down, up, down, up. 1, 2. Keep that hand moving all of the way here. 1 E and 2 and up, 3 E and up, 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and 2 and up, 3 E and up, 4 E and up. Okay, if you need to play through that a few times and really get it in, that's fine. Stop it, pause it, play it slowly, carefully, and consistently move your hand. If you do that, it'll make sense. Now let's stick the two of them together. I'm going to do it a few times around. Play along with me if you want. Grab your guitar up. I'll do it nice and slow. So useful. If you get this rhythm right, like with these muted hits, when we add the chords in, you'll be suddenly like, oh, it sounds just like it. I mean, to me, it even sounds, the rhythm is so strong, it sounds like it even without the chords. It's strong enough to that you'd recognize what the song is. So 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4 E and 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and okay, give that a good dose of practice and then let's stick the chords in. You ready? 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and One thing I didn't mention, the A chord comes a 16th note early. So we've actually got on the and after 2 is where the little open strings will be, which will be a downstroke. and then the A chord comes on that first upstroke of that little sequence. So E minor, G, D, A, E minor, G, D, A. On the A, I think it's actually the last two strums, the down and the up is the open strings as he shifts to the E minor. One more time, nice and slow through that. 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 If you've made it this far and you can play along, then you've almost certainly got your hand moving nice and consistently, so you shouldn't find the rest of the song particularly difficult. This particular pattern, the intro, is the most important one. It's used for the intro and all the verses. It's definitely the part where people will be like, oh, it sounds like Wonderwall, or not, if you don't get it right, if you add in some weird looking pauses or something like that. Now, the other part that I feel like the second most important part to get right would be the choruses. But what about all of the other bits? Well, there are lots of other sections, and there's this other thing that is probably a bit too complicated to go into in a proper lesson, which is accents. There's quite a few parts in the song where Noel's accenting different beats to highlight sections of the rhythm. And to go through, for me to explain every bit of minutiae about that, about what strums should be loud and which ones should be quiet, would be so detailed and so over the top and difficult to understand that I don't think you'd get there. What I'm hoping that you'll do is take the strumming patterns that I've given you now, this one, and I'm going to show you the chorus and this variation at the end of verse 1. With that amount of information, you should be able to just play around for the rest of the song, because I'm fairly sure that's what's happening when Noel plays it. There are moments that are exposed and iconic where the rhythm is really important, but it seems like the other parts of the rhythm are less exact. Even when Noel plays it live, it's not maybe exactly the same as the record would be, and that's not a criticism. He's a genius. He could definitely do it if he chose to, but it's not the point, right? Feeling it is the point, and feeling that moment, and allowing yourself to be a little bit relaxed with it. I feel like those things are more important than going into the minute detail of the 15th strum in that bar is 75% quieter than the next one. I mean, really? That's not really very musical, right? Anyway, speaking of all that, let's just go through a suggested strumming pattern that you might like to use for the chorus. 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4 and a and 2 and a 3 and 4 and you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after all, all I want to want. Obviously for the E minor you're going to have that little hold. So the end of the first verse, C, D, again, keeping that hand moving is the thing. If you keep the hand moving, everything else falls into place. We're starting with a C, 1 and 2 E and up. Okay, so we're changing to the D on the last 16th note of beat 2. 1 and 2 E and up, 3 E and up, 4 E and up. And then just these two open, we're just holding down the 3rd and 4th fingers, the last two 16th notes of that bar. 1 and 2 E and up, 3 E and up, 4 E and up. And then the A changes on beat 1, but he goes 1 E and 2 and up, 3 E and up, 4 E and up, da It's this 1 E and 2 E and up, 3 E and up, 4 E and up. We've had that succession of upstrokes before in the intro. It's such a really nice, it's like a drum fill but on guitar. So C, B, A. Down, 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 up, down, up, 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 down, down, up, up, down, down, up, down, up. And then we're into the next verse. Okay? This is a little bit of a tricky one. One more time just without the chord so you can hear it nice and clear. 1 and 2 E and up, 3 E and up, 4 E and up, 1 E and 2 E and up, 3 E and up, 4 E and up. That one might take a little bit of practice on the screen there. Pause it, play through it a bunch of times. Again, it's not essential. If you keep your hand moving all the time and stay locked into the beat there, nothing can really go too wrong. Okay, even if you get a chord slightly wrong or it's slightly late or slightly early, if you keep the groove on, people will be able to sing along. Even if you completely forgot the chords, if there's enough people singing along, you could just maybe, oh my God, what were the chords? I'm gonna be the one that saves me. Oh, I can't remember what chord the chorus started. Oh, there we go. Oh, you're my Wonderwall. You get what I mean? If the rhythm's going, people could sing along without the chords. But you try singing along to, I said maybe. Gonna be the one that saves me. Like, it just don't happen, right? So don't be that person. Focus on the rhythm. If the chords go a little bit wrong, let them go. Stay in touch with the rhythm. The rhythm is what it's all about, especially if you want to play this song at a party and you want people to sing along. Don't be the dodgy rhythm dude, because it's so awkward for anyone trying to sing along. Only other thing that I feel like I should mention, there's quite a few little variations that Noel plays during the tune, especially if you watch him live. One that I feel like is worth mentioning that you might not notice straight away is the little lifting up of the first and second fingers on the A chord. So you'll often get like making up a little pattern there. And again, keeping the hand moving, there's not really anything that can go too wrong. You could experiment. Now that I've told you about it, you could listen to it deliberately, or you could watch some live ones. You know, there's a really good live one on the, now I can't remember his name, radio show host, American, very funny comedian guy, long curly black hair. Oh my gosh. Can't remember his name. He plays live on that show. I'll put a link in the description somewhere. And on that, you can get a bit of a look at how consistent the rhythm is. And you can see the chords. You can see the fingers moving up and down. But almost any of the versions of him playing it solo live, you'll notice those things. So if you want to really go like deep diving on this song and really nail it down and try and pick up a few more of the classic moves that maybe you don't even hear on the original recording because they're buried by other instruments, then do go check out some of the wonderful versions of Noel playing it live. If you feel like you're struggling with rhythm, do go and check out the Justin Guitar Lessons and Songs app, as well as all of my beginner lessons. It's got hundreds of curated backing tracks specifically designed to help beginners stay on track with their rhythm. It really is the biggest mistake that beginner guitar players make, and when you play along with the backing track, you can't stop. The backing track's not going to listen. It don't stop. It keeps going. So you learn very quickly not to let the rhythm stop. It really is a massive bad habit for beginners. If you don't want to make that mistake, or you've got that habit and you want to sort it out, do go check out the Justin Guitar Lessons and Songs app, available for Apple and Android. Go have a look. Really hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you're learning guitar, you're checking out, you've stuck 3 and 4 chords for the first time, you might want to head over, check out the website. I've got hundreds of free beginner guitar lessons. This stuck 3 and 4 chords is part of the program, part of my beginner course, where I go into lots of detail about strumming and dynamics and how to keep your playing interesting, and almost everything that a beginner guitar player might want to learn. And of course, hundreds of songs, all graded by difficulty. So, you know, if you're a beginner guitar player, you can find the ones that are specifically suited for you. Lots of help with strumming and all of that sort of stuff, and plenty more Oasis songs as well. You have yourself a fantastic day, and I'll see you for plenty more very soon. You take care. Bye-bye.